What is up, and welcome to A Look Behind the Curtain with Chris. This YouTube channel was created to answer the two questions I get the most, which are, is digital marketing real, and are people having success with it? And to really provide a look behind the curtain to the viewer and the people who are interested so that they know really what it takes to get started and some of the actual struggles that are involved in building an online business. I know that it's really popular on social media to see everyone standing in front of fancy sports cars and big houses and flashing cash and travel. But what does it really take to be able to live that lifestyle? And that's what we want to dive into. Those are the stories that we're going to share. And every week I'm going to bring out a new guest, and we're going to dive into, their success, the things that they had to go through to get to it, their story, their journey. And hopefully you, the viewer, can, pull some inspiration, motivation, and even some techniques or principles from these stories and apply them into your life and business to have the same results or even better results than the people we're interviewing or myself or anyone else in the industry who you've seen and has ultimately brought you to this video. So without further ado, let's kick off the episode. Welcome to episode 13. Today I have the great honor of interviewing a very inspirational and powerful woman. She was born and raised in Kenya. She ended up moving to India to go to university, where she received a bachelor's in computer science and then went on to get a master's in IT. Moved back home and quickly learned that getting a job in her profession that she had just spent all that time learning was going to be very hard, and ultimately ended up getting a job where she only got $20 a week. She has now had the opportunity to move to the United States. She is still working at her current job with dreams to use her online business to one day live the laptop lifestyle. So please help me welcome to the show, Miss Maggie Mogusu. Well, Maggie, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and be a part of this interview. The first question I really want to ask you today is a little bit about your backstory. Who are you? Where do you come from? Did you grow up in a entrepreneur type family? Did you learn it from, growing up, or is it something you picked up later? And ultimately leading up to how you got started working online.
Thanks for having me, Chris. So actually growing up, I was born and raised in Kenya. And I grew up, my parents actually owned their own business when I was growing up. But the weird thing is, my parents, they were only focused on us just to go to college, have good grades. That's all I could remember my parents used to tell me, because like my dad used to tell me, if you don't have to go to school, get good grades, then you're going to have like hard life. So the only thing I knew I was supposed to do right actually was just to go to school and start really hard, which I did. So after high school, actually, I went to India. That's why I went to India to do like my bachelor's degree. I did my bachelor's degree in computer science, and then I had my master's degree in IT. And then I came back home. It was like 2010. And then I had my first job. It was really hard to get a job. And my first job I got as an intern, I was making $20 a week. After having a master's degree, after spending all that time in college and all the money that I think my dad was spending. So my internship actually was earning $20 a week. So I was like, what can I do at least to make more money? Because life was really hard. Growing in Kenya, life is totally different than here.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, it's really different. It's a little tough, but it's okay. So there's another guy who used to work in this company, because we were like, my first job was like a programmer doing websites for people. So me and this guy decided just to come up with our own company. Like, hey, we can do this, whatever we are doing here, to make $20 a week. You can imagine $20 a week. So we decided just to be doing websites for people to make more money, which we did for some time. It actually went well. We started making some more money, but at the same time, I was trying to look for another job. So I worked on this job for about probably like 6 months or so, and then I got a better job with at least a better, like it was better. Like I was making some good money with the other job, but the problem was we used to work all the time. It was busy. I never had time even to go out with my friends. And I was like, you know what, this is really hard. Then after some time, I had an opportunity to come to the US. Then I got another job here. And I've always really wanted to be like, I wanted to be my own boss. How can I make my own boss? I don't have to be depending on money all the time. Like I have to wait for paycheck to paycheck. Like driving, like the job that I had here, honestly, I had to drive like an hour drive going and coming back. So it was like really hard. And then I looked for another job, of course. I found another job. So I'm gonna give you a backstory, like how did I find Awol? You know, I love opera. I love watching opera shows. So I used to watch this program she has. It's called what's the name of it? Super Soul Sunday, where she does interviews, interviewing all the successful people, how they got started from having nothing to finally having success. So one day I was watching a show. She was interviewing Michael Bernard. I don't know if you know him. He's actually on the movie The Secret.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
knew it
he was,
sounded familiar.
you know him. So he
Yeah, I
was
knew the
talking
name
about.
sounded familiar. I just couldn't put the name. And then when you said The Secret, the face popped up.
Yeah. So he was talking about this book. I think it's called The Visioning Process, like the visioning process. This was probably beginning of 2017, January. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to get that book, The Visioning Process. So I got the audiobook of that book. And then I just started reading it because I was like, you know what, I think if these people can do this from having nothing to being successful and writing their own book, let me see if I can learn from them. So through his audiobook, he was like, I know most of you have seen this movie, The Secret. I'm like, what movie is this? He's talking about The Secret. So I went to Netflix and then searched that movie, The Secret. So I was like, oh my God, what is this? I was so fascinated just to see that movie. And then I started going to YouTube just to look on these authors, you know, like if I can learn more from them. So as I was watching videos on YouTube, then Kia video popped up. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? So the first day I saw it, I just kept it. The second time, I'm like, oh my God, this video could just not leave me alone. Then the second time, I actually watched like the whole thing. And then of course, I had to confirm. I had to go probably to like Best Buy and say, oh my God, this thing is real. I'm going to sign up. So that's how actually I go to Awol. And I think I purchased the Pro Academy. Of course, this was like July 2017. And of course, I was super excited. I went through the training. I didn't even know I could even do like affiliate program with Awol. I didn't know that time. So I followed the training and then I started promoting ClickBank products. And then after like 2 weeks, I remember it was after 2 weeks, I had my first commission from ClickBank. I was super, super excited. And then I was not really serious, but I was still the same way excited. I was just kind of treating it like a hobby. And then it came time probably as I was doing it, and I was like, you know what, probably I need to go elite so I can get someone to help me. But then it was time for us to travel to go home for Christmas. And then I was like, I was shopping a lot. And then I just stopped. I went back home. Then I came back in January. And then I was like, you know what? I think maybe it's time to go elite. And that's when I went to elite and then I got serious. Probably I had my first Awol sell up by April. I think April. Yeah, that's how I got started.
Yeah, awesome. You hit so many like really great things. One is just that it's I didn't realize how like world spread the gap in education to the workplace really was. You know, going out, spending all that money and time to master a degree, to get a master's degree, and then to come up short when it comes to actually finding a job because no one's really hiring, no one's looking for that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people here in the States, a lot of people that I talk to who are getting started online are having that problem. But it was an interesting thing to hear that that's also happening in places like in Kenya, you know, across the world. It's across the board that people are education is no longer the fastest or best route to get to the success you're looking for. It's just the traditional way. So really
Yeah.
cool to mention that because I didn't think it was as world spread as it is. I thought it was an American problem, and that's, you know, because that's where I am. That's what I get to experience.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's even in India, actually. So, and I mean, we go to school, and the sad thing is, I went to school of course, I'm doing my job that I'm doing right now, it's in IT, but it doesn't prepare you to exactly to face the world, to tackle the world, how
Mm.
you're supposed to even manage your work on the work environment. It doesn't prepare you. You're just there learning and cramming stories, which I don't think is the best way to prepare people to come to this world,
Yeah.
to the environment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. There's a big gap. There's a lacking in education. We're not being prepared for the actual worlds. We're getting taught theories and other things that can be useful depending on the job you pick. But majority
Hmm.
of the people, I would say more than majority of the people, aren't ever going to use these skills again. And that's just kind of a sad thing is people are spending a lot of money to learn a skill trade, to learn a skill, a trade, or a trade, sorry, that ultimately they're really never going to use. And it's going to be extremely hard to find a job. My wife is a perfect example of that. She got a chemical engineering degree. And for almost a year after that, she got that degree. Now, there was a period of time where we had our daughter and she wasn't actually looking. So I'm going to be completely honest and put that out there. But it was almost a year before she found herself, that engineer level paying job that was
Hmm.
the degree she had. It was a hard struggle. And, there was many times where there were multiple people in the pool and she got beat out because nobody knew her. And it was a networking thing, who you knew, not what you knew. And
Hmm.
we all know that that's a big factor in society and how things really work. You could be the smartest person in the world, but the guy next to you might know the boss and then he gets the job. It's
Yeah,
just,
that's true.
yeah. And then I just wanted to ask you too, because I also was going through YouTube, having one of the worst days of my life, and Kiala popped up. Um, I just wanted to ask, is your referring affiliate Antonio?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
It's
because
Antonia.
it just made sense because it's YouTube and
Yeah.
very big presence on there. So he's also mine. Just to clarify, that's why I was asking. But I wanted to hit something else that you had mentioned. You said you finally had the opportunity to come to the States. Do you want to clarify a little bit more on that, or give a little more details? Like, what ended up happening that you had the opportunity to come over here, and in your mind, how did that kind of change things for you?
So where I used to work, actually, because I used to work in a military base,
Mhm.
and we used to have people come over, like it's international. So we used to have different people from everywhere that used to work. So then I had like a boyfriend
Okay.
who used to come to visit. So we started talking and stuff like that. So I had to come visit him when I was still working, whenever I was working. So I came to visit him over here. And I ended up staying. I didn't even have to go back.
Hmm.
But then life was really, when I first came here, everything was different. Like, oh my God, sometimes I couldn't even, like I have this accent.
Mhm.
Sometimes I couldn't even understand. I mean, people may not understand me, and sometimes I cannot even understand them because I feel like they talk too fast, because
Mhm.
everything is just different. Life is just too fast. So it kind of, at some point of my life, I was like, I wanted to go back because it was hard. I kind of felt like, you know what, this is really hard. I don't know how I'm gonna survive here. But again, something just told me, just keep going. You're gonna get through. You're gonna get through. And I think right now, I feel like I'm at a very good place of my life. Like, I think it was fear. Sometimes I used to think like I'm this kind of person who don't go out and talk to people. But I think ever since I've joined Awol and gone to the Elite Summit, it kind of helped me just to come out, to find my voice, to know that regardless where you come from, your voice matters, and at the same time you can serve the world, regardless where you come from. Anybody can come from anywhere and still make it happen. And that's how I moved here.
That's awesome. And I met you for the first time at that Elite Summit, and I would have never known that you were shy or introverted at all. You were present, you were bubbly, I would have thought that you were just a people person, honestly, because just the way you represented yourself at that event, I thought that you were just naturally charismatic and love to talk to people. I would have never known that about you. That's really interesting fact.
It's interesting because people tell me that, but I don't know. I really struggled. I really struggle. I never used to speak up. Even at work, sometimes when we used to have like meetings, sometimes people could be like, you know what, Maggie is she's just quiet. She just smiles. I mean, I can do my work, but then I don't like just sitting with people. I cannot meet someone just start having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably say hi and I'm gone. But when I meet people and talk to them, they're like, oh my God, you're just happy. You're like a people person. I think it's because probably I took a lot of time just to work on myself, especially going on those YouTube videos and watching The Secret, trying to find who I am,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find my voice. I think that's what, but I think I struggled. I used to cry so much, but I think nowadays I'm better.
That's great.
Yeah.
And speaking of personal development and working on oneself, have you had the opportunity to go to the Awaken experience?
Yes, I went to Awaken, and actually you were there. I think you had come from Accelerate that time. It was in July.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so that's the time actually I went to Awaken. And for me, honestly, like even started to work on Awol, the moment I started to work on Awol seriously was after I went to the Elite Summit. Just to be able to be in that environment where the energy is just so different. Everybody is just there to support you. You just feel like this is family. Like you have all the support you need. And Kiara made me cry so many times. I mean, I love my dad. He really supported me so much when I was growing up, like paying for college and stuff like that. But I've never really seen somebody
Mhm.
so passionately telling you, I will do whatever it takes. If you're willing to succeed, I will do whatever it takes just to see you guys succeed. So after that, and then I went to Awaken and came back, I think that's when I realized, you know what, I can make this work. There are people out there who believe in me, who believe that I have value that I can give, and they see that, and I have to awaken that. So like the Awaken event was just mind blowing for me. It just took me to the next level. I think it kind of like break all the fears that I had, because even at the beginning, I didn't even want to use my face. I didn't even want to use my picture on my Facebook and stuff like that. I was like, oh my God, are people even wanna see my face? Trying to think about what other people think about us.
Yeah.
After I came back from the Awaken, that was done. Nowadays, I'm not even scared. I can use my pictures. I can take videos and send
Mhm.
it to my list without even having like wondering. Just I do that with an intention, like how can I help? How can I serve people more? Because I know now that I can.
That is awesome. That is so great to hear. I mean, the event is titled Awaken, in my opinion, for that reason. Kiala and Todd Campbell, who is the guy who runs the personal development side of under Awol called Inspirian.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for the viewer, I know you know that, Maggie. But they always say that greatness is inside of you, inside of everybody. Uh,
Yes.
and that you just need to realize it again, because growing up, life, society, people um, tend to diminish that flame and bosh it down on you, and then they have the ability to remind you that it's in there and rekindle it. And you're a perfect living example of all that was already inside of you, and the minute that you were able to access it again, you're no longer scared to be on camera. You're no longer scared to put your image out on the internet. You're no longer scared to use yourself as a brand to sell. And that's a really inspiring thing to hear. Um,
Yeah.
Todd jokes that Inspirian, those courses are a personal development course, or it's a marketing course disguised as a personal development course. Because honestly, it's universal. You are there
Yeah.
working on you. You are there, overcoming of some of the personal limiting beliefs or whatever it may be for that individual person. But you're also like, all of it also has directly everything to do with marketing, communication with people, confidence. All these things are part of marketing and what we do for a living. So it's really cool to have them both together and married. Are you gonna or married? Are you going to do the next one? Are you going to go to Activate?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Activate in next. I think it's in April.
Yeah.
That's my plan. So I plan to go to Activate in April. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think I was even talking to Todd the last time I went to the second Elite Summit, and I was like, Todd, if you had one word just to describe me, let's say you didn't even know me, you've just seen me, we just got each other for the first time, what will you say about me? He's like, I will say extraordinary. you know. I think people, it's just a human, I think it's the nature. We just try, sometimes we just need to be reminded, you can do this, you
Mhm.
know. And when you hear that from another person, because sometimes the way we think, I think we may try to focus, sometimes we focus on the things that are not even going to serve us. We focus probably on from the past experiences that we've had. You've had probably like a hard life, and then you get someone else who tells you, hey, you're amazing, you know. That
Mm.
kind of brings something in you and awakens your greatness, actually, when you get to hear that like several times, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's powerful, and in my opinion, it's necessary.
Yeah.
Um, so many people, society, and like I said a little bit earlier, society and other people tend to just kind of squash our dreams, and we start to believe it. From grade school here in the States, we start getting shunned for speaking out, thinking outside the box. You got to conform, you got to follow, it's a different type of education. And to me, I believe that the personal development stuff, the stuff that Todd's doing, is kind of what the children of today or even the past needed to hear. Those are more of the skills that we need to learn and master: how to control our own emotions, how to be the person in charge instead of reacting to a situation, how to be at peace with yourself, how to be confident and comfortable in your own skin. Like, these are all things that everyone should learn to do.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the Pythagorean theorem. I think I haven't even touched that thing since I learned it. But if someone would have taught me, how to be confident in myself and to represent myself, but in a confident manner early, it would have been a different game. Or if someone would have taught me about taxes, before I became wealthy, that would have been a different game. Like, there's so many things that are lacking and so many things
Mm-hmm.
that are being taught that aren't necessary. That's a whole different topic, and I can go on tangents on for days. But let's get
Yeah.
back onto your story, and let's hear a little bit more about your marketing experience and how it's been for you getting started online.
So I think the moment actually I started to take my marketing serious, knowing that, I mean, seeing you guys' success stories and knowing that it's done, because I think I was reading somewhere, anytime you see something on someone that you like, that you find to kind of inspire you, you can have the same thing.
Mhm.
So seeing you guys share your success stories on Awol, I kind of get that hope that, you know what, whatever I'm seeing and I'm noticing, I can have. And that's the moment I started to work really hard on my business. Not really hard, probably just believing. And I've been seeing results. It's been going okay. I mean, of course, I'm not like, I can't say like I'm at profit right now, but I think it's doing better than I was doing before.
And you said that you bought it, but you didn't get serious until January, correct?
Yeah, because I bought it in July. I actually joined Awol in July.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started promoting ClickBank products. I got like a few sales in there, and then I stopped. And then I had to go home, and then I had to come back. And that's when I went elite. And then I wasn't even serious until I went to the elite summit and then came back, and then I got serious. I had to go through the training now, like step by step, because before I was even skipping.
Yeah.
I could go through one thing and then I just skip, because I'm an IT person. So I was like, you know what, I know these things. These things are kind of easy.
Mhm.
When you come with a mindset like, I know this, then you're not like open to learn.
Yeah.
So after I went to the elite summit and then came back, you know what? This is a proven system that has been proven to work. The only thing that I'm supposed to do is just follow step by step just to make it work for me. Just follow, listen. You don't, because I don't have the results, I just have to listen. So that's the moment I sat down and I had to go through the training step by step, one by one. Because I was listening to you guys the way you were saying, like, I had to go through the training, I don't know how many times. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, how many times did I do it? Then I started doing the same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then I add my ad. And then from then, that's at least I've been able to see some results. Be able to see some sales coming in.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it wasn't easy. I cried, of course, at some point. I'm like, I cried, oh my God, this is not really easy. It's hard. But the moment I started just to talking with people and asking questions in the community and going through and searching, I realized sometimes we complicate things.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, we complicate things. Everything that we need, it's already there. The moment we realize it's there, let's go get it.
Yeah.
But the moment we are like, oh my God, this is so hard. I don't know if I can do this. And then it just becomes hard.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because in some of the more advanced classes what you do with Todd Campbell, and I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a saying that he mentions, and it's like, you might as well have been living your life by the philosophy that how can I make this harder? Like
Yeah.
any situation, you start overthinking it, overcomplicating it, and then something that was a simple task is now the most daunting thing in the world, and you don't want to do it. And it was all up here the whole time. Like you just overcomplicated it yourself. It's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's true. I think another thing I was reading somewhere, it's like, sometimes the way we think, we are filtering things according to what is here. So whatever we are filtering, it's what we are able to see. But the moment I pay attention, because like paying attention is actually a skill. I learned that that's a skill we have to learn and master that. So the moment I realized, you know what, I have to pay attention to this and take it so serious. And then you start researching on that, and then the filtering things that's working, you just start seeing the results. Say, you can do it this way. It's actually easier than I thought. The moment you're easy, relax. But the moment you're uptight and like, oh my God, this is hard,
Mhm.
you're not gonna
Yeah,
get it.
and just to kind of emphasize on that point of how we make things hard and when they really are easy, I just want to share a quick story, and we'll get back to
Okay.
yours. When I first got started, I started in a local mastermind here in Phoenix where we met up once a week and kind of kept each other accountable and stuff. So about like a month into that meetup, I came to the meeting with all these grand ideas of like this crazy ad funnel I was going to build and this 90-day autoresponder sequence and all this stuff. And one of the members who was in the group with me at the time, Kara Kelly, she's like, Chris, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Like you already have all access to all this stuff. Like, why are you trying to reinvent it when you can just use it? And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until like she was like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, why am I trying to go so crazy when it's not necessary for me to do that yet? I can be making significant money without having to do all that. That can come later down the line when I'm ready to start, making my own product or whatever it may be. And it wasn't until like that actually clicked in my head that I was literally trying to reinvent the wheel when I already had a working model in front of me. And then I just switched over to using that working model. That's literally when I started having 5-figure months and things started blowing out of the water, is because I accepted that I didn't know better. And
Mm-hmm.
I just followed it step by step and listened to everything the mentors were telling me. Because at that point, I went through a funnel review with Chris Rushlow, and he had given me great pointers to really boost my ad and make it successful. And I only listened to half of them. And I thought I knew what I was doing, and it just came. The more I got into the industry, the more ads I put out, the more I actually dealt with the market. The quicker I learned that like these steps are there for a reason. The mentors are saying these things for a reason. They work. Use it, and that's all I started doing. I started taking their principles, their ways of doing things, putting my own little personal spin on it, so it wasn't just a copy, and
Mm-hmm.
then bringing it out to the community, to the masses, and it worked. And yeah, so it just you don't have to be. A matter of fact, I think it might even be more beneficial if you don't have like an IT background or a computer engineering background, because I find that
Yeah.
those are some of the guys, some of the people, I won't say guys, um, that struggle when they first come in, is because it should make sense to them and it doesn't, and it's just they're like, their mind is like, I don't know what to do. Where for me personally, it was like, as soon as I just was like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just going to follow it step by step, it worked.
That's true. The moment you say like you don't know what you're doing, let me just follow step by step, it just works. Because even for me, I was like, oh my God, I can figure this out. Facebook ad, oh my God, this is easy. Like I can figure. Then I'm just skipping and skipping. Oh, I know how to get a domain. I can do that. So I was just like, I was in a hurry. I was in a hurry just to get things done and not following step by step the way I've been told. And the moment I realized, because for me now, I was just kind of thinking like the hardest thing that I was facing on my advertisement was probably like writing, coming up with a copy, because I've always told myself, oh my God, I don't know if I can write. That's the hardest thing I kind of faced. But when it comes to technical stuff, I'm like, okay, that's easy. I can figure that out. But the moment I came in, like, oh my God, I don't know anything. Let me just learn what I'm being told. You're being told to do this, do that. And the moment I started doing that, actually, I started seeing results. It's interesting how that works. I don't know yet, but the moment you realize you don't know anything, let me learn what I've been told from those people already, because they've already been through this. So they know, and that's why they have all this training in place. Let's just follow that. And once I did, just like a miracle happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just getting sales in, and I'm like, wow, okay. Now I don't know anything. I'm just gonna listen.
So do you feel that you're a good writer now? Do you have confidence in your writing now?
Yeah.
And
If I can sit down, because now I've been actually sending emails, like I can literally sit down and write an email and send to my email list. I feel like I've grown.
awesome.
There's so many things that I'm able to do right now that I never used. I never used to think I could read.
Yeah.
You know, like after going to college all those years, I never thought I could sit down and read a book. So one day, like when I was going through the 5 pillars for Awol, like we have to read, to listen to audio. I mean, I enjoy listening to audiobooks.
Mhm.
I love that. But when it comes to reading, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to read a book? Nowadays, I wake up literally the first thing I'm like, oh my God, I can't even wait to read.
Yeah.
I enjoy reading and I love it.
Mm.
It's been helping me. It's been helping me a lot.
Well, since you're talking about reading, I usually like to ask if I get the opportunity during the interview, what are some of the most impactful books or audiobooks that you've kind of came across in this last year that have really impacted you and helped you?
I think my number one book, I will say, I don't know if you have read, I've listened to the audiobook of this, As a Man Thinketh. It's James Allen. I
I
think
don't
I give that number one. It's a very good book. I actually have it on YouTube, even on my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Uh, it's free, so I love that one. I love Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
I love The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Yep.
I love The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind because kind of tells you, you know what, sometimes we think like you can have one thing and not another one, but it kind of tells you that you can have both.
Yep.
And that rich people, you know, when rich people are investing their money, they focus on winning. But poor people, when we are investing money, we are focusing not to lose, and
Mm.
we end up losing.
Yep.
So I love The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I think I love this one too. I'm
Oh,
almost done reading this one. This is so good. I mean, I love this one. I'm gonna read it for the second time.
I do that training once a quarter.
Once a quarter.
I redo my values every quarter. Yeah, I've done it 5 times now. It changes, so you have to because you grow and you evolve,
Yeah.
and obviously your values start to change. And if you want to link a value into your highest values, then it's kind of, in my opinion, kind of important to do it like once a quarter, every 3 months, because then it'll keep you focused on the tasks at hand, and you can really judge and measure how close you are getting to the things you want in your life. So
Mhm.
if like you don't have a high value for building wealth, but you want one, every 3 months, if you're constantly redoing that values training, you'll see, eventually wealth, if you're working it correctly and linking it like Demartini talks about, eventually
Yes.
wealth will hit the top three, and then you'll know you're on the right track. I love it. That he's a brilliant man, and I've been able to go through that values training with um, Jonathan Sugai twice, once virtually, once in person. One of another team of his facilitators, led by a woman named Perry, who was a former teacher. So it was phenomenal to go through it with her, and then obviously with Demartini himself at the last summit. So I love that training. Anybody who is interested in any kind of, you know, empowerment, personal development, his story alone is so inspiring. I
Yeah.
highly recommend you pick up anything by Dr. Demartini, because you will
Yeah,
be.
I think he has another book I think called it's the Breakthrough Experience. I don't know if it's a book or it's a course that he has out there, but I know for me, I was like, you know what, I have to do this again. I mean, I've got like we have like the Masters Academy. He also has this, and I think Kiala also has gone through this. And when we went to the summit, went through this, and I agree. I have to go through that probably like 3 times to make sure that I'm aligning to my highest values. That way, I can show up and feel like I'm fulfilled, and at the same time doing things that I prioritize, things that are gonna push me forward towards the things that I value and I love. So I agree that.
Yeah, it wasn't until I went through that values training with John's. So, because like you were just mentioning, in the back office of Awol,
Mm-hmm.
John Guy has a recorded version of that to walk you through it the first time, which is how I was introduced to it. But I had an opportunity um, later on to actually do it with him in person, and the way he kind of explains it really helps because he shares his story about how he moved to Houston and he was depressed and he started, having all these characteristics, started doing these things were out of character to him for him. And he realized it was because he was living out of value. And I started looking at my life and I was like, wow, I was like, that explains a lot. I was like, there were times in my life where I was, drinking excessively, or I was, there were things I wasn't in line with myself. And when I
Mm-hmm.
looked at those situations, I was like, oh, I was like, that's because I wasn't living at my highest values. I was, either sucking it up and doing it because I needed to do it or whatever it would be. And it wasn't until I linked those two things together that I was like, oh, like I can live a happy, fulfilled life as long as I'm always striving to live to my highest value. And I was like, okay. And then from there, it's just been, much easier to achieve that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and another thing I kind of took out of this book is that when you understand your highest value and you understand probably like your family, like your spouse, your children, the way you communicate with them and you communicate with them through their highest value, it kind of brings peace
Oh
because now you know the best way you have to talk to them. You don't have to, because you get upset when you feel like they're challenging your highest value. And that's where arguments comes in. But the moment you realize your highest value and you realize your spouse or your children your highest value, you're not trying to inject your values to them. You talk to them according to your highest value, and it kind of brings peace.
hmm Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's. I mean, knowing your greatest value, I think it's a breakthrough to everything, to life, like to building wealth, your family, even yourself, just to have the fulfillment. Once you know your highest values, I don't think there's anything that can stop you from achieving anything.
And I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that by taking a chance and clicking on an ad to learn a skill set, we would not only learn a freedom skill set, but we would become the best versions of ourselves and learn all this about just ourselves in general. Like that, never would have thought in a million years that by clicking on an ad to learn a skill set that I would be a completely new and better version of myself. Like, awesome.
I never thought either. I mean, I think I am the best I've ever been in a long time because I am not stressed about anything anymore. I don't have really a reason to be happy. There's so much already to be happy about. Just by clicking an ad, you know,
hmm
even the friends that I have, even the community that I have, even talking with you right now. Like when I went to the Elite Summit for the first time, oh my God, I was so happy. I don't know. For me, it was a different experience. I mean, I think I felt that way probably when I was in college. Like I used to be so happy, when you're in college, you're only worried about education and stuff like that. So I think going to the LA Summit for my first time, oh my goodness, there was just something that just came out of me. I was so like true happiness.
hmm
It was just, I don't know. It was just like mind blowing experience for me. And now we are here,
Yeah.
you know,
Now we are here. That is very true. So,
taking chances. You never know what it can bring in your
yeah.
life.
Yeah, and that's really what it was. Took a chance, a leap of faith, whatever you want to call it. Some guy on the internet made me some promises in a video, and I decided to give him a bunch of money. Like that's really what happens. And it was just the most beneficial and business decision I've ever made, and I'm just super grateful, super grateful.
Yeah,
But
I'll do it all over again.
oh yeah, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. But I just want to get back more onto a little bit more of your story. So. Um, What are some of the things that you found to be a struggle when you first got started? Some of the obstacles, and how did you overcome them?
So for me, the hardest thing that I found when I was getting started was to get myself out there because I was just too worried, like what other people are gonna think about me. Like
hmm
this, I don't think like there's anybody who's gonna click on my ad. That's what I was thinking. Like, oh my God, who's gonna look at me the way I am and just click on my ad? So that was a real, real struggle for me, just to let myself be and not to worry about what other people think, and just do it.
hmm
That's what my highest struggle, I think.
And what was it that ultimately helped you to have the confidence to overcome that?
I think just going through to the elite summit and meeting people and just saying Kiala, like saying so many times, you matter, you matter, you matter, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I think that broke everything. And of course, at the same time, like I started reading, I started listening to audiobooks, I started like learning how can I build my confidence, how can I give value without being worried about myself? Because sometimes when you're worried too much about yourself, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
So the moment I realized that I was being selfish and I was not being at service, I was like, you know what? I just have to now let me serve the best way that I can. I have to go beyond myself. So I learned to go beyond myself.
Powerful, very
Yeah.
powerful. Because I've talked about it before. When I got started online, it was to make more money. It was to have enough money to have time freedom, to have that balance of both, to really live a good life. And it wasn't until like being a part of this community and really getting started that I learned that 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 wasn't what was fulfilling me. What was
Mhm.
really giving me joy and making me want to wake up in the morning and do this all over again was my interaction with the people, the lives of that I was influencing and impacting, and the messages I was getting from people who had purchased the training with me as a referring affiliate, who had just made their first $5,000 commission or whatever it may be, and it warms my heart to know that people took a chance on me now, on my work,
Yeah.
and ultimately their lives are changing for the better, just like mine did and just like I told them it would. And it's just amazing to it's one of the most fulfilling feelings in the world to know that people took a chance just like me because I recommended it, and they are now living a life that most people can only even dream of. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And I think I had the same thing. I mean, when I saw it, the only thing I could see was, wow, another opportunity to make more money. Now it's time to make more money. When I first saw the ad, the only thing I could think about is like, oh my goodness, I have now another way of making more money. But the moment you get in and you get to understand it, it's all about serving and helping other people to change their lives. And the moment you get to meet them, to have this experience that we are having, it's
Mhm.
just like I don't think there's anything that can take that when you see them happy and fulfilled, because I know most people come through this, their marriages are improved, their relationship with their kids are improved, not only even making that money, but they're never the same people. Like
Mhm.
for me, I'm never the same person. I can get out there and talk with people right now without even worrying or having to think what they're gonna think about me. So we get a chance to grow, which is powerful.
Very, yeah, I agree. I some of the, honestly, I got addicted to growing and learning. In this like last year, it's like the power of just like even one book I picked up. There's been so many books I've read over like the last year alone that have completely changed my life. But just one of those books, it's just so powerful. It's just
Hmm.
yeah. I'm addicted to growing and learning. It's my new favorite thing to do.
Me too. Me
Um,
too.
but yeah, so mainly, so I've asked several questions, and you've brought up the energy at Elite Summit multiple times. Um, so I want to kind of just hit back on that because I know how great that is, right? You,
Hmm.
it's contagious, and you walk out of there. I mean, it's like you're high or something. It's just like you're floating on a cloud above the rest of the world. Everything is just rainbows. It's awesome. And then about a week later, that momentum leaves you, which is like what's really nice about our particular community is that we have several Facebook pages where you can go on and still have the conversations and get yourself boosted back up if you need to.
Hmm.
In your opinion, how does that work for you? How does that energy go for you? Does that dissipate in about a week? How do you keep that going? How do you keep yourself fired up?
I think for me, that energy, I just try to carry with me. It kind of stays not just a week. It's probably like a couple months.
Mm.
I just try to remember that experience because sometimes I do like a little recordings in my phone. So I try to memorize those experiences because I was learning somewhere. I think it's Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about how we think. It is more about mindset.
Yeah.
So I was reading somewhere before going to the early time. So what I try to do is just to memorize and remember that experience.
Mm.
And the moment I do, it's just like it's real. I kind of feel like it's real. I keep it like it's real, so I go with it. So it doesn't go like a week. For me, it just goes like a couple months. And it's funny for me, anytime I go to these events and come back, I make more sales than I ever. It's interesting. I think it's that energy because you're just focused on doing more good to the world, and that's what you see. And I don't think there's any way you can be focusing on the good and you get negative, like you get negatives. I think it just life kind of balances itself. Of course, there's like positive and negative at the same time. Whatever one happens, another one happens just to balance it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the best way to carry that with me is to try to memorize that experience, to remember that, you know what, there's somebody somewhere who believes that you can do this. And what can you do at least to even make them happy? What can you know what? Another question that I ask myself, what can I do just to give them back for all this time that they have taken to walk us through this? What can I do how can I give even back to them? And
Mm-hmm.
the only gift that I can give them, honestly, is just for me to be able to go after my dreams and be successful, you know? So that kind of keeps me just fired up.
That's great. And I'm really happy that I asked that question because most people that I speak to, like within a week, that energy fizzles out. And for someone like yourself to be able to hold on to that for so long, I'm glad that we are going to be able to share, you and this video will be able to share,
Mm-hmm.
a little technique there to hold on to that even longer. That's awesome. Because for me personally, I have to get on another Zoom call. I have to go, meet up with Jeff or somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and get back into that like-minded environment to get myself, boosted back up. Um, it's even got to the point where about a week ago, I was kind of tossing around the idea of buying a piece of commercial real estate here in Phoenix and setting up like almost like a. Have you ever seen Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory on like MTV or anything?
No.
So Rob Dyrdek's professional skater, owns he's part of DC's DC shoe line. Very, very wealthy guy. So what he did was he bought a whole factory, and he
Wow.
made the whole center of its like skate park and all these fun things, and everyone has offices all throughout the factory. And I think that like it would almost be like a Google workplace, but for entrepreneurs. So it'd be marketers, entrepreneurs, maybe even a couple small business owners, depending on what niche they're in, all working under one roof on separate projects or the same projects, depending on how we want to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
the key to it, to me, the reason I want to do it is that energy. When you put, 2, 3 like-minded, driven entrepreneurs in a room together, things get done. Big projects
Yeah.
happen. Ideas start coming out of the woodwork, and I want to be able to harness that on like a 365 basis. So, um, I was seriously contemplating investing in some commercial real estate here in Phoenix and doing it. The issue is that we all have the laptop lifestyle gives you such freedom that no one really
Uh-huh.
wants to report to an office every day when you can literally be home in your underwear making money. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a catch-22 right now. I've only got like 2 people who are really interested, and I'd like to get at least 5 to make it worthwhile. So yeah, just just made me think of it.
I think
That
it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
yeah,
Because honestly, whatever you get, because the good thing is, when you meet two people who are supporting each other, like you find the things that they're doing, they align with the things that you are doing, and you mix those two minds together. Oh my God,
yeah.
there's a lot that can be done. Ideas just start coming up, because it's just that energy, that just keeps on around that. So I
Yeah.
think
And if
if
you
I get to do that, it's just gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, and if you look at like our mentors and the people who are like pillars within our industry, the niche that we currently work in,
Mm-hmm.
they're teams. There are always teams of people. You have Kiala and Cam who started Awol. Then you
Yeah.
have Jang and Julian who started GAZ with that's their baby.
Yes.
You have Landon Stapes, who are a team. Like
Oh,
all these,
wow.
like you have power teams all over this industry, and there is absolutely, in my mind, a huge benefit to having that, like that extra mind to feed off of, to have idea, like, and to amplify that by, like, 5, 7 entrepreneurs. That would be,
Yeah,
in my
that'll
mind,
be
that would be
great.
world changing. We would be able to
Yeah,
do some world changing stuff.
that's true. I think we need, I don't think one person can go really far by yourself because sometimes you get overwhelmed, you get tired.
Yeah.
And if you get tired, if you had someone that you're working with and he's like, hey, we can do this, let's keep doing this. And
Uh-huh.
then you guys just start brainstorming on ideas. I think together with either 4 or 5 people, even 2 people, you get more done and you're going to get more ideas than one person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a great idea. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can I can come in probably virtually and say like, oh my God, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
And I just, another thing that really got me fired up about it is that we just had 2 more marketers move here to Arizona. We've had like 7 in the last 3 months. Like people are noticing the value of being around and surrounding yourself with the energy of like-minded people and driven people. So now, like, left and right, people, from different events are either moving to here or to Vegas to be around, like, the core of, well, I wouldn't say the core, but like the larger groups of the community.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
there's huge groups here in Arizona. There's a huge one in Vegas. I think there's another big one in California, but California is kind of long and spread out, so I don't know if they're all kind of close to each other. But yeah,
I think
crazy.
that would be great. I mean, because they say like if you had to wake up every single day, right? You wake up to the same side of the bed. You brush your teeth the same way. You see the same people every single time. You go to work, you see the same people, you drive through the same road. You don't get to see anything new. And anytime you're not seeing anything new, it's like nothing is changing for you. But the moment you surround yourself with uh, people that are growing and learning every day and they're sharing their ideas, the moment you're learning like that, your life is changing and I think you're triggered. I think they say it's like you're probably like there's new sockets on your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You are growing and learning on a faster rate than seeing the same thing every single day whereby you're not growing. So I think that's why probably we get all this energy and excited in a room because it's like it's huge because we're all bringing our minds together with all this energy. We are growing and learning, so we're all excited. I think that's why it's sometimes contagious and we feel like we are empowered. We know it's possible. So if you see other people every day who knows, hey, we can do this. We are just seeing possibilities. And that's all you're going to be seeing all the time. So
Yeah,
I think that would be
absolutely.
great.
So we are actually getting close to the end of our hour. I went by fast. It usually does when
I
you
know.
start talking. Um, I was actually interviewed on a podcast with Matthew Jang and Aaron Frazier,
Mm-hmm.
and we did like 3 hours, and I didn't even know like 30 minutes had passed. It's just like when you start rolling in conversation, it's like, wow, I didn't even realize all that time had passed.
Especially when you're talking about the things that you love, you care about.
Yeah,
You never realize how time goes.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
like to close out the episodes with a 2-part question. The first part being, if there's somebody on the fence about getting started in digital marketing, learning from Awol, getting the training, what would you say to that person? And then the second part is, if someone just bought the training, just now starting to get into the digital marketing world, it can be a little overwhelming at first, and what would you say to that person? And we'll let you take it from there.
I think the one probably on the fence, probably wondering if this really works. I think I will only tell them, I don't think there's any skill that anybody can learn at this time than digital marketing. I don't think there's a better skill that you can learn to start even making more money and helping more people than online marketing right now. I don't think there is. And if you really desire change in your life, it's not gonna come unless you choose to invest in yourself. for you to be able to see a change. If you're really looking for something maybe in digital marketing or whatever you have to do, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to invest in yourself. Either you have to invest money or you have to invest time for a change to happen. Otherwise, your life is just going to be the same. And probably the one already who has come to Awol doing this, the only thing I can tell you, it's going to be overwhelming at the beginning. But remember, it's okay. And at the same time, there's going to be someone who is ahead of you and someone who's behind you. So the only thing that you can learn to understand is that you're only competing with yourself. The only person that you can compete with is yourself. Just understand how you can make your schedule work, because other people have learned their time and their schedule to make it work for them. The only thing that you can see is to see people who are ahead of you and know that it's possible, and just keep doing it every single day. It's new, it's going to be overwhelming, but the moment you do it today, you do it tomorrow, it's going to get easier. And the moment you learn something, if you get an opportunity, just go back, pull someone, show them something, and it's going to get easier. And before we know it, we are all succeeding. I think that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, and I'll leave it just at that, because that was perfectly said. I wouldn't want, like, all of us succeeding. Who could say anything better than that? That's just great.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just want to say again, Maggie, thank you so much for taking time out to do this with me today. I really believe that your story is going to impact a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that are afraid to put themselves out there, and I really feel that you're going to be really relatable in that manner. And I'm really excited to share this with the viewer. So thank you so much. I'm very grateful to you for taking time to do this with me.
Thank you so much, Chris, for having me out here. And thank you so much for being such an inspiration to all of us in the Awol community. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you. To you, the viewer, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this interview. If you liked it, please hit that like button and do me a favor and comment the one thing that was talked about during this interview that really resonated with you. Also, if you have any other questions that haven't been answered yet throughout the interview series, please put them in the comments as well, and I will be sure to ask them on future interviews. And as always, if you're looking for this information as it's dropping and don't want to miss any value, definitely hit the subscribe button so you can get it fresh as it's coming out. And as always, there will be a link in the description section of this video so you can get started today learning the skills of digital marketing and set yourself free, just like the people I'm interviewing and myself. So until next week, peace.